Your pictures will show them on air throughout the morning.
All right, it is 5:17. Over to Dan. Dan, I see that little tiny corner of the state looking at 6 to 8 inches that we keep talking about, but that's a small amount of people.
Exactly, yeah. I don't want people to get the idea that they're going to get 6 to 8 inches of snow across like much of the rest of the state. This is basically just the higher elevations of Litchfield County, looking at some of those higher snow totals as you kind of hold on to the snow for a period of time. Meanwhile, we got a report of 4 inches in Burlington, so around 3 to 6 in this area shaded in that lighter shade of blue there. And then for the rest of the state, this is just all rain now. As Julie was mentioning, rain, rain, rain. There you go. We'll just slap a big rain across the rest of the state, as any accumulation that you've already seen is going to just get kind of washed away by a lot of this rain here. The shoreline, little to nothing in terms of any snow, and much of the rest of the area, like around Hartford, Meriden, Middletown, and over towards the Danbury area, just more rain on top of what you've already seen. So it's not like we're going to pick up any further accumulation or anything like that. So overall, it's just kind of a wet morning for a good chunk of the state. And I'll tell you, even just watching Julia's live shot there in Hartford, I was taking one of those roads on the way in, and it looks better than it did even a couple hours ago. So we're seeing some improvements, of course, as that rain continues to fall. But up across Litchfield County, some snow and some sleet. And John Heller in Granby just let me know he's got around 3 inches of snow with some sleet now falling on top of that. So in Granby, you've switched over to the sleet. And across a good chunk of the state, you're either seeing sleet or rain this morning. So the snow is really just confined to the northernmost reaches of Litchfield County. I think even where you see this blue color here, there's still some sleet mixing in, which is going to limit your accumulation. So in terms of snow, this is not a big snow maker here, but it's just kind of a messy morning for a good chunk of the state as you have that rain falling and now some gusty winds that are really starting to pick up. This storm is getting its act together. It's a pretty strong storm, even though it's not giving us a whole lot of snow or really even a lot of rain. I mean, the rain amounts, we're talking like maybe a half an inch, quarter inch to a half an inch or so. Some thunderstorms down to our south and east, not a concern for us, although we could have a rumble of thunder in some spots this morning. And as we're going through the day, that storm, the center of the storm is pretty much passing right over us. So that's why we're getting some of the, just a little bit of everything. It's like some storms were on the cold side of the storm, some storms were on the warm side of the storm. In this case, we're getting both. We have the cold side in Torrington at 31 degrees. Meanwhile, it's now 46 in New Haven. So those temperatures have really bumped up along the shoreline. It's 43 in Groton, 35 in Willimantic, 38 in the Hartford area now. So that's why the rain is falling. It's 39 in Danbury with the rain falling on top of you as well. Oh, look at that. A wind gust now to 56 miles per hour in Bridgeport. Very gusty winds along parts of the shoreline this morning, and really anywhere in the state we've seen some gusty winds, but the most wind, the brunt of it, will be along the shoreline in these next few hours. 47 miles per hour in Groton. Yeah, with that 56 mile per hour wind in Bridgeport, we've got to watch out for a few power outages to pop up in these next few hours here. So that's something we're a little bit concerned about. But overall, I don't think there's going to be any significant power outage numbers. But still, all it takes is one. You know, if you're one of the people who lose power, it's like you don't care if there's 20,000 out there. If it's at your place, you're like, all right, let's get that power back. So overall, as we go on through the rest of the storm, we'll have some gusty winds coming in from the east, which is kind of pushing a lot of water into Long Island Sound, which is why we have the possibility for some coastal flooding. There's a coastal flood warning in effect for the shoreline. And later on this morning, these are the high tides, right around 10:40, 10:30, even 9 o'clock in the New London area. Some moderate flooding and some splashover going on across some of the seawalls across parts of the shoreline. So we'll be watching for that as well. So if you live along the shore, those gusty winds will cause some problems. High wind warning in effect for New London County, but a high wind advisory in effect for the rest of the shoreline and into the eastern portions of New London County as well. So it's going to be a windy morning and just windy the rest of the day, with the rain for the morning hours, and then things kind of taper off. We get 11 o'clock, not showing a whole lot of action here, and then things do start to improve as we go on through the day. There could even be a few flurries later on today as some colder air kind of swings in the back edge of the storm. So just an active day. I mean, there's so much going on in the weather department just for today alone. Then the rest of the week, luckily, we stay kind of quiet. Temperatures bouncing around a little bit, going from the 20s to the 40s, back down to the 30s on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday keeping it in the 20s with some chillier weather coming in for the end of the week and into the weekend. Possibly a storm for Saturday that will be nearby, but at this point I do think it misses us, so we'll be watching that really closely. But the bottom line is, just to give a quick little recap about today, we have the rain out there for much of the state this morning with the exception of northern Litchfield County, and just windy conditions the rest of the day, so be ready for that. We'll have more updates on the forecast all throughout the morning. For now, back to you.